Hello and welcome to My Life in Pixels, and what a shocker because I'm actually releasing an episode 2 weeks after the last episode. I'm trying to get into a routine, guys. I hope you're proud of me. Now, this week it is all about Mr. Dan Gaskin, and we've been trying to do this episode for about a year and a bit, and it just hasn't worked out timing-wise because Dan is so blooming busy. But I feel very, very fortunate that I managed to pin him down. And actually, it was at Gamescom that we met. And I'm very, very fortunate because Christopher Floto, who is part of the communications team at ESL, let us use one of their meeting rooms. And I'm very, very grateful. So thank you so much, Chris. It feels quite apt that we're speaking in ESL space because Dan is part of the ESL UK's talent team, which kind of means that he does a lot of stuff for them, but he gets hired out. And in fact, actually, he says in this podcast, he hasn't done much directly with ESL UK because he's been so busy around the world, particularly working with FIFA. FIFA Esports is a space I haven't really entered into yet, so I was really curious to find out a bit more about how that game works. So Dan does talk about that, particularly towards the end of the podcast. But I also wanted to find out how Dan got into this in the first place, especially as he's a good mate of mine now. But we don't get to catch up very often, so I was kind of picking his brains and just hearing his life story, and I'm so glad we got the chance to sit down and really go through that. We also talk a lot about our mate Sims, who I hope to get on a future episode of the podcast, so watch this space. But for now, have a listen and get to know my mate Dan Gaskin. Are you feeling ready?
Always.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the podcast is called My Life in Pixels, Dan, so what are you expecting?
But I thought we could talk about your life rather than mine.
So do you think this is a podcast which is about me inviting guests on to talk about my
That's
life?
what it should be. You're the famous one. You're the cool one.
I am not famous.
Here you are.
I like this because you're saying I'm famous, yet you have just done an event at the O2 for the FIFA World Cup.
I did. I didn't really expect to be there either in my first year in FIFA. It was kind of mind-blowing, and my parents turned up as well, and like that was really weird seeing them there and little kids asking for my autograph, and I'm like, you don't want my autograph, you want some of those autographs. But yeah, I loved it. It really did blow my mind.
Have you perfected your selfie face yet?
No, I'm terrible at that.
You go for like the duck look, the toothy smile. What are you working on?
I've just improved my teeth smile. I used to just give a little eyebrow raise. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
like
I've seen that. Yeah,
firm,
I know that one.
Pout, but now I'm trying to smile to make myself look happy, especially if it's with fans. But I very rarely get the chance to take photos with fans. So.
Have you got a name for your fans?
No, definitely not. For a while. When I was streaming, I had the bow tie brigade because I used to.
Oh
I
yes,
wear
I love your bow ties and
bow
your little
ties.
jackets, little red one.
But bow ties didn't really fit the demographic of FIFA, so I kind of ditched the bow ties.
So you're no longer the Doctor. Well, you are like the Doctor Who of esports. You've regenerated from the Matt Smith era.
Yes.
So basically, you are now the. Oh, you're the Peter Capaldi era. You're now the old man.
Damn it! I didn't really want to be that.
Not
era.
that. So well, now next you can be Jodie.
Okay, yeah, we can go with that.
Lady Who?
Yeah, I think that's
That's your next regeneration.
Yeah, defining FIFA as the new. Maybe I'll just bring bow ties back. Maybe FIFA deserve it.
Make it a thing. Bow ties are cool.
They are cool.
I think I sort of thought of you as a Halo person, Dan, and I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because I know that you are doing some Halo events, and hopefully you'll be doing some Halo Infinite events when it comes out. Is that what you first started gaming on your Xbox with Halo, or does the story start earlier than that?
I mean, that's when I started competitive gaming. Was with Halo. I was a pro player, and I say that with air quotes because it was back then we would win like a controller and 50 quid if you won an event.
It's more than I've ever won.
So I would class myself as a semi-pro Halo player at the time, but that began when I was like maybe 12, 13 years old playing Halo. I went to my first LAN in Norwich, which my parents drove me all the way to.
Was that Epicenter?
No, it was just like a clan LAN. So it was all these guys that I've been playing Halo with. They were all like in their 20s, some in their 30s, and this 13-year-old lad who was in their clan turns up. And it was bizarre. Like my parents just dropped me off. They stayed in a hotel nearby. They trusted everyone. They met everyone, and they were all great guys. And I still speak to some of them nowadays. That's where it began. And then I kind of moved on, transitioned, tried a few different games. I competed in so many different games. Same with sports. I think I'm good at every game, but I never excelled in one particular game because I just tried everything. And then,
I feel like that with my career.
Don't say that.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you.
That's not true.
Continue.
You excel in every area.
No, Not in Counter-Strike, I don't. Well, not in playing Counter-Strike,
playing.
but let's set up. No, not playing. You've
Oh.
seen this. But yes, so you were playing multiple different games.
Multiple different
professionally.
games. Well, professionally.
Semi-professionally. Winning 50 quid
Semi-professionally.
and all the mice you can shake your hands at.
Was the first ever Gears of War. That's not it. Gears of War 1.
Just Gears of War it was called, actually.
It was.
I think you'll find.
It was,
Yeah.
but if you
The original,
say,
the
say
OG.
Gears of War, people go, well, is that Gears of War 3 or is that Gears of War 4?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Gears of War 1, when I think I was about 14, I wasn't legally allowed to play the game, nor compete, but I still did, and my team won. But I wasn't allowed any prize money because I was underage.
Oh.
Yeah. So my team took the prize money.
Did they buy you some sweets with
Yeah, of course it's sweets. Yes, yes, they did. They got me lots of snacks and goodies, and yeah, it was amazing. And then it got to the point where I went to university and I studied performing arts, drama, little drama boy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of stopped competitive gaming then because I lived with 13 girls. My room was the walkthrough to the laundry room. So I never got any free time. I never got any personal space. And it meant that I just couldn't game because they all took the mick out of me and they all bullied me. It wasn't fair.
So you couldn't game, you probably couldn't have a girlfriend either.
That's also true.
You're basically a prisoner.
Basically, there was 2 of us guys and 13 girls. It's a very, very big house. Like, it's multi-story. It wasn't flats, but it's like just a huge house in Weston-super-Mare. That was, glamorous place. However, after uni, I went back to playing Halo again. And then Richard Sims, just at the start of Halo 5, was like, hey Dan, I think you'd make a good commentator. And I was like...
And is that just from hearing you on voice chat and you managing not to swear a lot? Or was that from him meeting you at previous LANs? How did that happen?
Me and Rich had met before at loads of LANs. He was commentating some of the tournaments I was playing at, like the Halo 4 ones. And occasionally, I would jump on with him. Maybe not to commentate, but like do interviews and stuff like that. And I think he just thought I would be a good fit, and we had natural chemistry. We had a lot of history together. And I thought, yeah, you know what, I'm going to give up playing, and I'm going to risk it for a chocolate biscuit. Went into the ESL studios. I think I sent them a show reel of my stand-up comedy. That's how I showed them that I was confident enough to be on camera and stuff.
Hang on a second.
We're rewinding?
Yeah, hang on. You stand-up comedy?
Yeah.
You did stand-up comedy?
Yeah.
We need to talk about this. What kind of stand-up were you? Were you a t-shirt comic? That's what we call the white straight men comedy.
What's a t-shirt comic?
It's basically like Chris Ramsey, observational comedy.
Ooh.
I was walking down the street the other day and some chewing gum stuck on my shoe. Chewing gum's annoying, isn't it? Laugh.
I guess a closest comparison to me would be Lee Evans, maybe. Very...
Okay, Gurney.
Yeah, lots of faces, lots of my own personal life experience stories, and then lots of action and throwing my arms around and dancing around the stage kind of thing. That was my stand-up comedy, but also very rude. I liked rude stand-up comedy. I liked to shock people with stand-up comedy that was a bit on the nose, if that's the right saying. Is that the right saying?
I mean, I haven't heard the jokes, but I'm going to guess yes, on the nose is the polite way of putting it. I guess we can talk about how that feeds into things in a bit. Mm-hmm. But, so you form a partnership almost with Sims. Was Sims already working for ESL at that point? He
was. I think Microsoft had actually asked ESL to take Sims on. I mean, he can confirm or deny, but I think that's basically what happened, to cover the whole of the Halo World Championships in 2017. And yeah, it was his decision to put me forward to the product management at ESL, and Rob Black was the product manager at the time. And I sent them my stand-up comedy. I sent them a couple of videos of me doing casts, like just bedroom casts that I had attempted. Probably never want to listen to those ever again.
I do.
I don't even know if they exist anymore. That's the thing, but they must do somewhere.
I have my ways of finding out.
Once you find my stand-up, that'll be it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, me and Sims, we casted the whole of the World Championship qualifiers together, and we went on and did a whole season. I didn't get to do the actual World Championship finals that year, which was quite disappointing, but then it just spurred me on to do better and try harder and work.
And then you become in-house talent at ESL after that?
Yes. So after the World Championships, I still wasn't a part of ESL officially. I was still freelancing. But I was like, oh, I really like Hearthstone. Do you reckon I could come down and like if you ever do anything Hearthstone related, I'd love to cast it. It just so happened that the ESL Premiership, they were bringing out Hearthstone then. And they were like, sure, yeah, we'll get you on. We don't really know anyone else because Hearthstone was kind of new and booming at the time. So I took that on, and then I was just at ESL like 3 days a week because I did that. I did some Mortal Kombat for them as well, like stage host stuff. And they were just like, why don't we just hire you full time? Because you should just move to Leicester, basically. You're travelling all this way. I think I was in Bristol at the time. And they were like, just come here. And they offered me a full-time job and haven't looked back since.
And that's the funny thing with ESL UK, and then there's ESL in Cologne. We referred to that as ESL HQ.
Yeah.
ESL Cologne, it was about a year and a half ago or something. They had their in-house talent, and then they changed their structure, so it was more like freelancers under an ESL agency, whereas in the UK, that's still actually a salaried thing to be ESL talent. So what kind of opportunities has that afforded you? Because for me, for example, I think maybe I should have started hosting sooner than I did, but I was always really scared. You know, I did stuff on the side, and I had a lovely security net in Twitch, and I love my job at Twitch. I love the people I worked with, but maybe I could have decided to start and go full-time a bit sooner than I did, but I just was scared of being freelance, whereas you're given an opportunity, I guess, to develop in-house, but also have that security of that wage. So what was that like for you? And do you think you would have done it if you'd had to be freelance from the outset?
Well, I mean, the funny thing was, so I was working at Gourmet Burger Kitchen.
GBK.
GBK. Great burgers, may I add.
Love a California.
That's not a hashtag ad. I just love a good Gourmet Burger Kitchen.
Bit of goat cheese, bit of beef.
Oh, yeah. Some halloumi as well. Perfect. Stick that in a burger.
Crazy.
I was doing that, and I was assistant manager, I think, at the time, and I was actually on course to be a manager. They were going to offer me my own restaurant in Bristol. And then I got offered my first American gig with Halo, which was during the World Championships. And I booked the time off because I was part of the management team. I didn't really have to ask anyone. I just booked it off, put it in the calendar, and it was fine. And then I think maybe a week before, my manager was like, oh, you can't have that time off now because I'm going away. And I was like, well, no, that's not how it works. I already booked the time off. And they were like, no, you've got to work. And I said, all right, I quit. And I just walked out there and then. And that was the best decision I made because that's when I went into freelancing and then eventually got the job from ESL. But I think to answer your question, because I rambled a little bit.
No, you didn't.
The opportunities that ESL gave me was obviously incredible. They pushed me to try new things. They said, why don't you try interviews? Why don't you try stage hosting? And of course, a lot of that came from me as well and my desire to just do different things and discover what I'm good at. But they just gave me the platform, I think. And then eventually it got to the point like now where I haven't done an ESL UK gig in quite a while. Just mainly because I was doing FIFA all season, which is fine. I still have my salary with them, and I'll still meet with them every few months, and we'll discuss what's working, what's not working, what's good for them, what's good for me. And I'm still very happy with ESL. I can say that honestly. So I'm very thankful for what they've done for me, and hopefully they're thankful for what I've done for them, because I think that for a few of their shows, I was able to add a lot, and I hope that I can do more so, especially with ESL HQ. I want to add more to their shows one day. Maybe alongside you.
Oh, that would be nice.
For the good old days.
Well, yeah, the good old days. We should talk about the good old days because, as you mentioned, your stand-up earlier, and I think I that all makes sense to me now, given that we worked together on the ESL UK and Ireland, to give it a technical name, Hearthstone Premiership Finals. That was January 2018, and I will props to everyone who worked on that, yourself, Falcone, and everyone. They were all so accommodating to me and really, really helped me. But also, I think the reason I felt like I took to that show and had fun with it was because of the banter battle, which I guess feeds into your comedy background.
Yeah.
And it meant that when I saw some of the weekly shows in the run up to the final, the group stage, I guess you can't really call it that because everyone's a solo player. Is it a round robin format? How would we call it? Because it's first to three, isn't it? So it's not a round robin. But it's not GSL either.
You can call it a group stage.
Just call it a group stage. Okay, yeah. Cool.
Swiss,
yeah.
No, it wasn't Swiss.
The bracket.
They played some games.
The prelims. Yes.
Cards were played.
The season. The split.
Yes.
So yes, during the split, I obviously got to know the banter bell. Got to see you guys having some fun on the desk. So it meant that when I came along, I sort of knew the level kind of thing. And so I feel like it worked.
I think you fitted in well, for sure. Like, I think there were a lot of jokes you made which were great, and I think the whole production team, and myself included, loved them, and I just think it was a nice fit for what the ESL Premiership was. The Banter Bell was an award-winning Banter Bell as well, may I add. It won Banter of the Year at the UK Esports Awards.
Yes, it did.
2018.
It did, and you won Caster of the Year.
I did.
At the UK Esports Awards 2018.
Didn't win it this year though. Came second. No, didn't come second. There's no second. Came joint second with the other 4 people.
But
Sideshow
won, but he doesn't cast. He's an analyst.
He's an analyst, but
I mean he's hilarious.
Oh, he's great.
But I was surprised by that just because I was surprised I was nominated as well.
I think they nominated the winners from last year automatically.
Really?
I think so. I think that was the thing.
I was just surprised because, well, I'd done 5 events in the UK. So to be fair, I'd done some events, and one of them was a PUBG major, the one with McLaren, which is a pretty big project. So I suppose, and I'd done the Face It minors. So I had done stuff in the UK. So when I kind of rationalised it afterwards, because I was telling myself I didn't deserve it, I was like, okay, maybe I did fit the criteria. Josh is in the US, but he's fantastic. So it's not that he doesn't deserve it. It's just I think maybe they need to refine their categories a bit more, and they need to actually publish that criteria, because Josh is doing the UK proud with the work he is doing.
Yes, I would have said, if I had have won, I would have said this at the awards, that I think that the awards need kind of rejigging as to who's nominated and who deserves what, because you kind of have a lot of some top tier talent that are voted for stuff. I mean, look at the photographer of the year, Joe Brady, one of the best photographers in the world.
Yeah, incredible.
And then you have some new freelancers who are just getting out that also get nominated for stuff, and breakthrough talent. And really, I think those awards should be for those people.
For grassroots.
For grassroots.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I still think I'm in that category, don't get me wrong, but I just think that there are a different way we could approach the UK Esports Awards.
Sure.
I think Esports Awards in general are quite strange.
So, anyway, we're digressing. So, I'm interested. So, you're working at the ESL doing a lot of the Premiership stuff. You're doing all sorts. You're doing Hearthstone, you're doing CS, you're doing Prem. You are casting, hosting, interviewing. What do you feel like is your favourite role to do? And that could be different from your strongest role.
My favourite role is commentating, for sure. I think my strengths are in different areas at different times. Like, there are some aspects of commentating where I'm probably not as strong as other people, but there are some aspects of stage hosting where I might be stronger than other people. But I enjoy them all. I still get nervous when I go on stage and there's a crowd. It doesn't even matter if it's 20 people or 200 people. Like, it's still terrifying. You still get that same kind of nerves in your belly. And that's the reason why I stopped doing stand-up comedy, because I didn't like that feeling. I didn't like feeling sick and not eating enough because I was worried and stuff. Whereas commentating, I don't worry about it anymore. I turn up, I've done my research, I'm prepared, and I love that. I love diving into histories of players and what everyone's done and all of that. And it's so fun. I just love casting.
Yeah.
I think that would definitely be my favourite.
But you were on stage at Gamescom doing Esport, which is a new game.
Yes.
Stage hosting that. And I know you were nervous beforehand, but I have it on good authority that you absolutely knocked out of the park. So how did you deal with your nerves before you went on stage this week? Do you have a ritual?
No, I don't. Well, the thing is, I haven't stage hosted in almost a year, I think. So I was just a little bit nervous again. And it was somewhat unexpected that I was going to be stage hosting, but that was just miscommunication on my end. I thought I was going to be desk hosting, so it kind of made me a little bit more nervous, because that sudden change of role, you're like, oh, am I prepared for this or not? I didn't go out the night before. That's how I prepared. I just did some prep, and I rehearsed some lines of opening and all of the stuff that they wanted me to hit. And I guess you just take a deep breath and you go for it. And as soon as it started, you're fine. Like, I always feel like it's very slow leading up to it. You see that countdown, but as soon as you're on that stage, you're there. I don't feel nervous when I'm actually on the stage necessarily. It's just the beforehand. So I think if you can think it's going to be over at some point, then you're not going to get nervous, or at least that.
It's going to be over at some point.
Like, tomorrow you'll be thinking about it and you'll be laughing. And it's the same what I used to do when I used to act, and I used to get nervous as well. You focus on the fact that it will be over and you will enjoy it and you'll love that feeling when you finished it.
Yeah.
Like, whether it's a round of applause from an audience when you're acting, or whether it's just a pat on the back from one of your mates, or whether it's my mum giving me a phone call saying, "Oh, you did really well today, Dad."
Yeah.
Like, that's what we do it for.
So I sometimes feel worse after the show's ended.
Why?
I think it's got this form of OCD which is known as pure. It comes and it goes. It's not always constant, but it does mean like I have very, and I know a lot of people have this as well, very cyclical kind of thought patterns. So my brain, when I'm bad, it will grab onto one thing and it will just rotate it over and over again. So I had it after DreamHack Dallas, where I just had like an adrenaline drop, and it was quite a bad one. I hadn't had it that bad for a very long time, but I was also on my own, which didn't help. But so sometimes like I'll just look back and I'll just be like, oh, I wasn't very good, blah blah blah. And I've had to get much better at being like, right, just because no one's told you you haven't done a good job doesn't mean that you, like, just because no one's told you you've done a good job doesn't mean you haven't. Because I definitely need to like tone down needing reassurance, because I'm working with people who do this job every day or like every single week, and so they don't need that reassurance and they don't expect me to need it either, so I need to be better at that. When I do stage, I will go out and I will speak to the audience on the PA, and I'll speak to them in person as well. Like, that's so important to me. So I will literally, because I want to meet them as well, and I want to find out what they're going to react to and how they're going to respond, how I make them respond, what they're interested in. Because then when I go on stage, I can use that. But also I feel like I'm at home when I know the audience trusts me. So like day one can be difficult when you're staking things out with that kind of thing. And then day 2 or day 3, you can like really have fun because they know you. And I was very lucky at Intellectual Masters Sydney, because the audience already knew who I was. It was the first event I went to where people were just like, oh, Frankie, you're right, Frankie. So I knew I could go out there, and I went out there in the outbreaks because I only stage hosted the show match. And like, I just could have a laugh with them.
I think that's nice. I think the comparison I have there, when I stage hosted PUBG at Leicester.
Yes, I came down to watch. It was great.
And I was given the mic during breaks so I could talk to the audience.
Yeah, it's great.
When we're off stream, and I think that's always important, whether it be before a stream or after a stream or mid-stream, whatever. Just so then you can chat to them, and then they know you're not just this person who stands in front of the camera and goes, "Welcome back, everyone."
Yeah, and you do care. Yeah, that's really important. Do you find, given that you do a lot of different games, that the communities, the audiences that you're speaking to are different based on the game? Because for me, you've done Hearthstone and then you've done FIFA, and they're totally worlds apart. And in terms of the esports ecosystem, they feel worlds apart as well.
They are worlds apart, and in terms of having a fan base, which I'll say in air quotes again.
Dan's Gaskin. Gaskin Robbins.
No, don't like that either.
No, okay, we'll work on it.
We'll work on it. We'll find something that works. Yeah, like, I mean, even in terms of like Twitter following, I've had a lot of people unfollow me when I transition from game to game. I mean, some people do it very well. Yourself, Golden Boy, for example. Golden Boy is amazing.
Oh my God.
Like, the fact that he can go between so many games and still sustain that amount of fans and followers depending on what he plays, like, it's crazy. But
sheer force of personality, passion, and just being the best at what he does.
And there are some similarities in the games he does, like a lot of FPSs, etc. Yeah. But yeah, Hearthstone and FIFA were two very different things, and I know a lot of my Hearthstone like followers probably unfollowed me when I started doing FIFA, and I don't blame them. They don't want to be reading about FIFA if they don't enjoy FIFA, and if the majority of my timeline is FIFA, then that's probably a good thing for them just to, or they could just mute. If they want to give me the follow still, they can just mute. That's fine. I don't mind that. What's
your advice? Everyone listening right now.
Yeah, just mute me.
Yeah, just mute him until you hear he's doing another esport, then unmute him.
Yeah, when I
case
move
by
on.
case basis, event by event.
But audiences, I mean, for stage hosting and stuff, I guess there's different kind of humours as well. Like, some people like dry humour, some people like just excitement and they want to be pumped up. So I think it does depend game to game. Although I don't think I ever stage hosted a Hearthstone event. Don't think there was any.
I came in and did that.
You did do that.
I did that for you. You did Rainbow Six and PUBG.
Did.
You did some shooty bang bangs.
Shooty
bang bangs. Sims is definitely going to take the mick out of me if I say that in front of him.
I mean, that's how Sims casts. He's like,
oh,
it's a shooty bang bang. That's probably something he would say.
Honestly, I have to say, like, I love watching Sims and Pansy cast PUBG so much, especially like at PMCO recently, which was technically PUBG Mobile, so that was their first PUBG Mobile event as well, I think. I could be wrong. But it's the first PUBG Mobile event we did together, and I was watching Pansy and Sims casting, like, you know, dimly lit, because they weren't under the spotlight, but the casting desk was on the stage because they were using the analyst desk, and just the two of them together, like the passion, the movement. I was trying to surreptitiously film Rich while he was like doing his arm pumping and really going for it. And I just love that they have found themselves, you know, they are the centre, I feel like, of that esports universe, and they deserve to be there.
I love that he's found a partner in PUBG, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, because he was my partner in Halo. He was my first ever duo, as it were. And actually, we got to cast this weekend just gone in Halo.
Yeah, how was that? The Halo Classic?
It was amazing.
Infinite for Face It, right?
For Face It, yeah. Amazing to do a Face It event. That's my first Face It event at Twickenham.
They're really fun.
Great
They're really
team.
fun.
Admins are great. The production's great. Sam Deans was doing the production as well.
Did you work with Reese as well? Producer Reese? And Jazz, product manager Jazz?
Don't know.
But you work with Sam Deans, who used to work for ESL UK and now freelances, so he does a lot of work with Face It.
That felt like home, just having him in my ear. But casting with Rich was great. It was different because he hasn't casted Halo in a while, and I knew he was still in his PUBG mode. He was so calm with all the things. He used to be very play-by-play, and then he's come in now, and PUBG is just...
It's colour in PUBG, yeah.
But, he does a mixture of both, and he's one of the best at developing storylines. I will put that out there, and I think it's very important in esports that you have those people that develop storylines. And that's also one of my strengths. So when you combine me and Rich, we just end up building storylines together, and it's quite fun. But he said spray pattern once, which was quite funny, even though there's no spray patterns in Halo.
Oh, because it's I guess, Call of Duty and Halo, it's like...
It's a spread, like a BR spread, you'd say, rather than spray pattern. So there were a few things that you could feel were coming in from PUBG, and like he would give me a look, and I'd give him a look.
You should have done like a PUBG like equivalent of a swear jar. Every time you used the wrong terminology and then donated it to a charity at the end. It's
funny though, because I almost said FIFA instead of Halo at one point. It's when you've done it for a whole year, it just gets rooted into your brain.
Yeah.
It's so easy to have a slip of the tongue when you're casting for that long throughout the game.
So when Halo Infinite comes around, do you think you and Sims might cast together again?
I would love to, and Rich knows I would love to. I was partnered with Strongside throughout Halo 5, but Strongside's kind of gone off doing whatever he's doing. He's on holiday everywhere, taking vacations, and I don't know if he's going to come back. But I'm happy saying that my preference would be Sims, because he was who I started with, and I think we have very good chemistry. But Sims has his own partners in Halo. He did a lot with Walshy. So if Walshy carries on, then maybe Sims will stick with Walshy. I don't know. That's up to him. We'll see what happens. Maybe Halo Infinite won't even use me. I don't know. But I would love to work with Rich, because I think, we have a unique partnership. I knocked him out of his last ever Halo tournament, and he came like top 24 or something like that. It was pretty bad. He sucks. But then I gave him his career almost, because he got knocked out of that tournament and he jumped on the casting booth.
And then he got you on.
Exactly.
So you've kind of been leapfrogging each other and helping each other out ever since.
And he's kind of my boss as well at ESL. Like, he will help me with all my bookings and stuff like that. So he's a true friend, and also really happy for him with his baby as well, which I met for the first time. He brought him to the Halo tournament.
Yes, oh my god, he appeared on screen.
He did.
See, I need to watch clips of that, because I saw a picture. It's so adorable. Oh my god, because I've not met the baby yet.
He's so cute. We were filling because the games weren't starting, and Rich's wife walked past with the baby. It just so happened at the right time when we were filling, and Rich was like, "Go on then, let's get him on." And it was great.
Did they put a little headset on him?
No, we didn't. Sims he's over the moon, and it's great to see him happy, and I'm happy for them both.
So let's talk about FIFA then. How did you get into FIFA? As you say, you've had a phenomenal year in FIFA. The fact that you start, 12 months ago or so, you start it, and then you end the season at the O2 with Onset as your casting partner. So how did that journey into FIFA and working with EA start?
So we could date it back to, I used to compete in FIFA, as I said.
Of course, you bloody
so
did.
many games. I think it was FIFA 06 at, I don't know if you remember, you might not remember the events called XL, but there were some events, XL 1 through 6, that were run way back in the day, like console events, and I came like second or third in a FIFA event there, and I always loved playing football games. And FIFA was a big thing for my brother as well. My brother, who I lost to cancer, he loved FIFA, and it was one of the games that really kind of kept him going when he was unwell. And that, I'm not going to say that spurred me on to do anything, because I had no idea down the line I'd be doing FIFA, but that's why FIFA has meant a lot to me this season. And when I got given that opportunity, I pounced on it immediately, because I was like, this is a big thing for me and a big thing for what was my brother as well. So I was very excited to do it when Mark asked, Onset being Mark. Gfinity had the Gfinity Elite Series, which you obviously know about.
Yes, so that was a weekly series that ran from their base in Fulham, and they did a few different esports, including Street Fighter at one point and CS, which I think they replaced with Street Fighter, and they had Rocket League as well.
They did.
And it's a European-based tournament.
Yeah, I knew that Gfinity Elite Series was coming up, and Mark was like, we did a Halo event together, and we were sat down, and he was like, do you fancy doing FIFA with me? And I was like, yeah, I would love to do FIFA with you. I'd love to get the opportunity. And then it just so happened at the same time, Paris Games Week happened, and ESL were running a FIFA tournament there, the first minor of the EA season. And I reached out to ESL and I said, hey guys, like, I've got an opportunity to do some FIFA work. I'd also love to do this if I can. So I spoke to Joe Miller, and Joe was like, yep, cool, we'll get you in. So I did it with Joe and D-Man. The three of us casted that event, and that was my first EA event. And I loved it. I loved casting FIFA. Then went on and did all the Gfinity stuff with Mark. And then after those two events, there was one EA major that I didn't do. I just watched from home because I was just expecting to do the Gfinity Elite Series. Wasn't really expecting more. Then after that major, EA reached out to me and Mark, and they were like, we've seen what you guys have been doing at the Elite Series, and we would love if you could do more. We would love if you could join us for the entire season. Like, this is the season plan. These are all the dates. And we were like, whoa, yeah, okay, we'd love to be involved. And
that's super rare. Sorry to interject, but I just want to establish for people listening, in esports, it is super rare to be given a schedule like that in advance.
Yes. I was lucky enough that they did give me that schedule, because it meant, even though it wasn't, they didn't book me for the entire time, it was still an event by event basis on the booking. But I knew the dates of when the event was, so I could keep that off. Like, I could keep that free time. If someone asked me to do something, I said, oh, I think I'm going to be doing something else. I'm not sure. Because I never thought it was guaranteed. There was always the chance that maybe I wouldn't do an event. But yeah, I ended up being, actually, I think, the most booked FIFA talent this year, mainly because of my US citizenship. So it meant I got to do the American events. Some of the other European guys couldn't do it because of visa issues. So that was very lucky that my mum and dad had me when I was in America. So now that's actually paying off.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just ended up doing lots, and it's been amazing, honestly. Like, EA have been great. Mark's been absolutely wonderful. I couldn't even say I don't know what I could say about Mark. He's just fantastic, like, as a partner.
He's a lovely guy, yeah.
He's a hard worker, and I think that's why he asked me to do it way back then, because he knew I was a hard worker as well, and we worked hard together to get where we are. And yeah, we casted half of the final at the World Cup, which was incredible, and working with all the other talent as well. Brandon and Richard's been amazing, and of course Joe and D-Man at the start of the year, and all of the other analysts, hosts that have kind of dipped in and out. It's been awesome.
And what was the audience like there in the O2? I'm just wondering what the atmosphere was like. Again, I've never been to a FIFA esports event, so I'm not familiar with what the fans are like. And also, I've never obviously done an event in the O2, so the combination of those two things I'm really curious about.
I was curious as well. I didn't think there would be much of an audience, if I'm completely honest, because the way they do the World Cups is it's at the end of the game. Like, FIFA 19 had already been out for 10 months, so a lot of natural fan interest, I think, personally, is lost by then. But no, there was a good couple of thousand people there. Some of the games we saw were phenomenal as well. Some of the best we've actually seen all season. And the fans were loving it. They were all cheering, and they were like, you could hear the oohs and the ahs, and they were so receptive of everything, and they wanted to, like, shake my hand when I walked past and stuff like that. Most of them seemed like they were really loving it, and there was a lot of, like, kids there as well who just seemed to be happy to be watching esports. Did they love FIFA, or were they just there because they wanted to be at the O2 when there's a big game going on and they wandered past? I don't know, but there was a lot of smiles, and it made me smile as well.
So with FIFA,
yeah,
I've not watched FIFA esports. Hey EA, if you're listening, I'm really open to finding out more. I'm just kind of curious with sports games like that. I've covered NHL before, and so I learned so much just in 1-2 days of work on the NHL Gaming World Championship last year on the European heat in Stockholm. What makes FIFA technically demanding and difficult? Because I know it is difficult, but like when I've played, I'm just like, how do you become good? Like, just how hard is it?
I'd say it's very difficult. At the top level of FIFA, it's very difficult. A, because you're playing against people who know how to put the ball in the back of the net, and that is the aim of the game. But it helps having a good vision and knowledge of football, like where you should be passing the ball, the use of triangles so you can play it around defenders and stuff. But then mechanically, the in-game, there's all the skills you've got to know. FIFA 19 added goalkeeper movement, they added timed shooting, so you shoot and then you have to press the shoot button again at the right time. Do you remember the Gears of War reloading mechanic?
Yes, where if you don't hit it at the right time, you jam your gun,
Yep.
or you can just slower reload if you don't want to risk it.
A little bit like that.
Yeah.
You can just shoot without going for time shooting, but the shot's not going to be as powerful.
Yeah.
Or you can add time shooting, but you've got the risk if you miss, it's going to go
That's a
yellow or
wicked
red,
mechanic.
and then it goes
Yeah, cool.
wayward.
Yeah.
The mechanic was quite strong this year, and a lot of people took advantage of that, and that's what happens in every FIFA.
Mm-hmm.
The pro players will always find the way to not break the game, but to find the easiest ways to score, right? And then they will abuse that because they want to win money and they want to be the best. It just so happened that FIFA 19 this year had the craziest kind of ways to score. So it wasn't maybe your normal football that you would want to see. There was a lot of like El Tornadoes, which is basically this crazy flick up that only a few players in the world could actually realistically do. But in the game, everyone's flicking the ball over it and then shooting from 50 yards. And it was a spectacle. And I tell you what, some of the casual viewers must have loved it. Like my dad, when he was like, "Oh, that goal was amazing." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, we've seen that all season, Dad. Come on." But a lot of the FIFA community, they are pure footballists. Is that a word? It is now.
They're fans of the beautiful game,
Yes.
as well as the digital version of the
Yes.
game, right? Yeah.
And they want FIFA to represent football as best as it can. And when everyone's flicking the ball up everywhere, they're like, "This isn't football. I want to see it more normal." And from what we've seen of FIFA 20, it's here at Gamescom, so I'm allowed to talk about it because I've played it here at Gamescom. It feels like they've moved it that way, so I'm glad that it's going in that direction. But I've been playing FIFA since FIFA 97, 98, and every year it changes. Every year there's always different things, and I love it.
So basically, FIFA fans are a bit like people you play at table football and they say, "No, you're not allowed to spin them round. You can't spin them round because it's football, and players don't spin round like that." And I'm like, "Nah, mate, it's a game. I'm going to have fun with it."
Pretty much. I think if spinning in table football was legal in like the professional thing, then people would definitely use it because you can hit it more powerfully, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, the FIFA community is a bit like that. They want to see football played in a certain way, but then those same people will also use those mechanics to score because
They'll learn from watching the pros do it.
exactly
Yeah.
because that's how to win, and ultimately people want to win. That's why we play games. Well, not always, but most people want to win.
Yeah. So your family watched you at the O2,
They did. My mum and dad came.
and how was that?
Great. I mean, my mum and dad are so supportive over all of my esports stuff. They watch pretty much every Twitch stream I'm on. They always ask me for the link, and they'll put it on the TV at home, and I'll get a little message from, like, my sister will be round, and she'll be like, "They were watching you on the bloomin' telly again," and my sister thinks it's really weird, and I'm like, well, they just get to see their son. If they miss me, they can just watch me, right? Like, it's really nice for them. But yeah, they're great, and I couldn't ask for better parents.
God, I wish my family watched me. I don't remember. My dad watched PC Gaming Show in 2018, and I messaged him about it because I knew he'd watch because his wife had put up a screen, like a photo of me on an iPad saying this is what Frankie does for a job now. And then he just replied, "Did you write the man-eater joke?" That's all he said to me. I was like, yes I did. No one told me to say it. I wrote it, and then I got a sign off on it, and then I delivered it, and then people started following me on Instagram.
Did he like the joke?
He never said whether he did or he didn't.
No clarification.
So, I mean, that joke could be taken in multiple different ways, and like, if you haven't heard the joke, don't worry about it. It's fine. It wasn't that good. But at the same time, am I proud? Would I take it back? Am I proud? Yes. Would I take it back? No. And then I ended up in a shark costume interviewing the CEO of Tripwire about that game literally this year.
Yeah.
And I saw him a couple of days. Oh, I saw him yesterday. I got to actually see someone playing Man-Eater.
Ooh.
It's crunchy. It's a hell of a lot of fun. I can't wait to play it. But anyway, again, I'm swerving. But before I let you go, I also kind of want to ask about that personal side of things, because I, for example, am away quite a lot. Although I've been home for a few weeks. That's weird. I get home and I have to spend 2 days or so adjusting. I feel so sorry for my boyfriend. And then it's really nice. But then after a couple of weeks, I'm like, I'm never going to work again if I don't go to work. I really want to go to work. And so even if I have a job booked in, I'll be like, ah. So I was really excited to come out to Gamescom, even though it's the smelliest place on earth. I love Gamescom. I do love it. And this is my fourth one. You're actually married.
I am.
And I guess you had a long distance relationship for a while, because Ray was based in the States when you were first courting.
Mm-hmm.
And Ray was actually episode number 2 of this podcast, so you can hear her side of things. How does that relationship work, if you don't mind me asking?
First of all, Rachel, never going to call her Ray. Has she told you why she calls herself Ray?
No.
Okay, there is a reason behind it. She can tell you that. I'm not going to get into
Mrs.
it.
Gaskin.
Mrs. Gaskin, Rachel, or Mrs. Rachel Rakowski Gaskin. She's double-barreled at the moment, but she might be changing her name soon.
To Rakowski?
No, to Gaskin. To Gaskin, hopefully. I mean, that was an interesting one, because we met, actually, that first Halo event I was telling you about in America. She and I were speaking, and
she slid into your DMs.
She slid into my DMs.
I know.
She did indeed, because she was doing Hearthstone for ESL, and she happened to see my Twitter or something, and she thought I was attractive. So, for some reason, she was like, "Hey, let's talk to him." And then that Halo event was in LA, and she was like, "Well, why don't you come? We can meet, and you can stay a little bit longer." And alas, we did. We fell in love, and then a few months later, 6 months later, she came and visited. We went back and forth, and then she ended up proposing to me, which I'm sure that most people don't know. They probably think I proposed to her, but she proposed to me, being the strong, independent woman that she is.
That does sound like a Mrs. Gaskin thing to do.
It is. And I'll be honest, when she proposed, I probably went silent for a good 3 minutes, because I didn't know what to do, because you kind of think, wow, it was so quick. I mean, it was only less than a year we'd known each other. But I was like, no, I love this woman, so I'm gonna say yes. And we sped things up. We got married very quickly. We had a fake wedding in England, which wasn't legal. That was our wedding, but it wasn't illegal. We didn't sign the documents. But then we went to America to sign everything, because I'm a US citizen. We were allowed to do that. And then we had 6 months apart after the wedding, after the honeymoon, because we were waiting for her to get her visa to come here. So then she finally came over here, but now we're married, we're together. Yes, it's hard, very hard, when I'm traveling, and now she's got a new job with Jagex, so she's going to be traveling a lot.
Head of Esports for
Head
them.
of Esports,
Yeah.
out. She's done so well.
Yeah.
I'm so very proud of her, considering when she first moved here, she was unemployed, obviously, and I was supporting her until she found a job, and then she found a job, and she's transitioned from job to job to job, and we've moved house far too many times. But I can work remotely, so I've always gone with her and supported her there. But yeah, it's difficult, and I miss her a lot. I miss her right now, even though she's in Gamescom. We haven't even been able to spend that much time together, because I've been working and she's been working. But you make it work. When you get home and you get to have a little cuddle, it's nice. And I think you just have to take advantage of the free time you do have. I know I personally need to get better at that, and she's probably thinking, yeah, you need to get better at that. Because I still like playing my games, and I still like doing my research and stuff.
Do you need that time to yourself to decompress? Because in our work, we are constantly surrounded by people. But then when you're in a hotel room without your creature comforts, so you can't really spend that time productively in terms of self-care, I should say.
Yeah.
You can prep, but that's not headspace. That's either you being alone in a hotel room, or it's you working.
Yep.
You know, there's no real happy medium there.
No, everyone wants their own free time, right? Like, I love playing Formula 1, for example. Love playing that with the boys. Rachel actually sometimes plays with us, but I like to just game on my own. Like, that is what I do. I am a gamer. That's why I've ended up in this job. But sometimes I don't do it for work. I just game for pleasure. But it's just about managing that, and then actually getting off the game so I can spend some time with Rachel and ensure we can keep pressing forward in our marriage. But I think we're going to go away to Italy next week, just as a little getaway, because I think we need it, because we've been working so much.
Yeah, you deserve it, definitely. I was about to say, she definitely asked me to ask you that question, but she didn't. She's not giving. She's under the table, Dan. She's in the meeting room next door, just like with a little glass, like listening in. Yeah, and you passed. So congratulations.
Yes.
You passed the relationship test of the podcast, and I've even learned something about my own relationship. Should I ever get married? Although, I mean, I'm as good as married. We're buying a house. So
I'd say if you're
I'm
buying
roped
a
in
house,
now.
You're more married than I am. We haven't bought a house yet.
I'm common law married, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's because Rachel keeps moving.
It is good. Yeah, I said.
It's her fault.
Then, like a week ago, she was like, "Oh, we could look at like maybe getting a place." I'm like, "No, we're staying here for at least 2 years before I'm even thinking about moving."
So you've got 2 years on your mind. What is in your future? Whether that is moving or your career, do you see yourself doing FIFA full time? Do you see yourself trying out different games, slotting into one role, say commentary more than the other roles? What do you see yourself doing?
I think I'm an open book and I will do anything that comes forward. I would like to focus on FIFA after such a successful year, and I hope that I will be able to do the same in FIFA 20. It's looking positive. I think I have a couple of shows coming up that will involve FIFA 20, so that's my main game, but you've always got room for other games. Rachel will hate me saying that because then it obviously doesn't free up as much time personally, but Halo Infinite, when that comes out, I want to do that. I'm always up for stage hosting some games that maybe I'm not as knowledgeable about when it comes to casting. So I think I'm just going to take it as it comes, really. I don't think in this industry we can really predict what's going to happen, because I don't think you or I would have been expected to be where we are right now.
No, exactly.
Considering where we were.
Yeah.
But it comes very quickly, and you take it and you seize that moment, and you keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
Rachel wants kids at 30, apparently. So that's in 2 years.
Yeah, I was going to say she's a couple of years younger than me. So,
she says kids. I say kids. We might have one.
Singular.
Child, maybe.
Yeah.
But as I said to her, there's no rush. Depends on what's happening, right, in your life. If we're both successful and we're travelling and we're enjoying what we do, we probably won't have kids until a little bit later. But who knows what the future may hold? But I'm excited for it, certainly.
Brilliant. I feel like that's a good place to end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dan. Thank you. I'm so glad we managed to finally sit down and have that chat. It was quite impromptu, but we managed to make it work. And yeah, it was everything I hoped it would be and more. If you would like to hear from Dan Gaskin's wife, Rachel, then she's episode 3 of the podcast. So scroll back down through the feed and you'll find it. I spoke to Rachel last year when she was running the Red Bull Gaming Sphere in Shoreditch, but now she's head of esports at Jagex, so she's doing a phenomenally good job over there. I know she's just started, but she's super busy already. And I know she's been an old school RuneScape player for years, so it's kind of a dream come true for her. I'm going to start lobbying Sims to try and get him on the podcast, because we did mention him a couple of times there, and he's one of my favourite people, one of my favourite casters in the world. Watching him cast with Pansy when we're doing PUBG together is just an absolute privilege. And so he's definitely on my hit list for interviewees. I'm also lining up a couple of other interviewees. At the moment, so hopefully I'll be able to bring you those podcasts soon. And I've got an event coming up in September, and I'm wondering if I can try and get some people to talk to me. But we'll see. It's always hard in a way at events, because the timings can be a bit hard to guess, and you run out of time, or people just want to chill after events, so I never want to force them into doing podcasts, but we'll see what happens. Either way, thank you so much for listening. Thank you if you subscribed to the podcast, if you've ever shared it or told people about it. Be my guest, please do feel free to share if you feel inclined, but at the same time, no pressure, it's absolutely fine. I'm going to keep on doing this regardless of how many people are listening. And also do check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Frankie Ward, because that's where I'm doing lots of bits of content. I would mention stuff to do with the major, but I know that this episode is coming out the Wednesday of the final week, so although Legends hasn't started yet, by the time this podcast comes out we'll be in the champion stage, so I don't want to jinx anything by mentioning my pick'ems and things like that right now. Instead, if you do want to look at that, then see my Twitter at GetFrank and my Twitch, twitch.tv/Frankie. We'll be discussing the major over there as it goes into the final week. So that's all from me for this episode. Thank you again for listening. Lots of love, and I'll see you very soon.